hot.
Mic is hot.
Yo.
Hello.
Oh.
Welcome, ladies, and how's the camera?
It's fine.
Should we turn on that light?
Sure, we can turn it on. Why not?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to post-league time, the pre-show to our LCS analysis show. I'm here with myself, and missing from this arrangement is my other co-host, Mark Zimmerman, who does the analyzing with me on the very in-depth analysis of these games, as well as my pre-show co-host, Josh, who's currently figuring out production problems, but will join me now.
What up, guys? How's it going? So that was a stomp.
Actually, I thought it was better than, at least it was better than yesterday's games. I could talk a lot about these games, whereas yesterday's games, I was looking at them, I was like, oh, what do I even say? Today, Yuna's not here. He's spending some time with his family, so he couldn't make it onto the pre-show today. So if you're a big Yuna fans,
I'm sorry.
You don't have to lie to me, but if you're missing him, he'll be streaming sometime next week.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
Just like everything got shifted.
Hopefully not badly.
Okay, should be fine. All right. So what did you guys talk about yesterday in the pre-show?
I wasn't here on the yesterday, but you remember? Because I was on the desk. So
Yeah.
I have no idea.
What did they talk about then? Well, I guess
don't worry about it. If I wasn't here, we can talk about anything we want.
the top thing is, I guess it's Easter. So happy Easter for.
Is Easter Monday? I thought Monday was Easter.
I thought it was always on a Sunday.
Oh, it's always on Sunday.
Always on a Sunday.
Oh.
Come on, dude. It's like a religious day. Sunday's like a religious thing.
Do I look like I celebrate Easter?
Dude,
do I look
totally
like
look like you were.
I'm into rabbits.
Grew up like Catholic, you know.
I actually did.
Like, oh, you did? You?
Yeah.
Actually, that's actually not that surprising.
Wait. Yeah, my family used to go to church every Sunday, and then at some point I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And my mom was like, why? And I was like, I always go to sleep at church. And she was like, you know what? You're right. You don't have to come.
I basically celebrated Easter by sitting on this couch, really hungover from drinking too much last night. It was my buddy's birthday, so he had a little party. I don't drink very often, so that's why nowadays my alcohol tolerance is pretty low. It sucks.
Yeah.
Because my heritage, as a Korean, I need to be able to hold my drink. Like when someone in Korea, when you ask somebody how much can you drink, the unit of measurement is soju bottles. How many soju bottles do you drink?
Is that really?
Yeah, that's the measurement in which Korean guys use. How much can you drink? So it's I can drink 2 bottles, and people are like, oh, that's not bad, that's what they talk about.
Oh well, I mean, I've been to Korea. They're legit. Culturally, it felt like it was crazy there because every time after a game,
I don't know why we just lost.
Did we just go down? Well, anyways. Every time after I think we were playing at OGN during the time. We literally the games would end and everyone would be like, "All right, guys, we're going out for dinner and drinks." It's okay. Every single night, it was just it was ridiculous. Every night of the week, if I wanted to go drinking, everyone would be down. I'd just be like, "You guys okay?" But that's not me. I got invited to the party yesterday as well. But you know what I did instead? I went and watched my YouTube videos and critiqued them for my editors because I wanted to know.
What a hard worker
I wanted to know what they were editing recently.
While you guys were out partying, I was mastering my YouTube.
I mean, that and Hearthstone. So yeah, essentially, I feel like I came out the better person.
Okay, whatever, dude. You can take that moral high ground. Whatever.
Dude, I probably should.
Looking down on me for having fun.
I hate fun.
But yeah. Anyways, how's the new Hearthstone expansion? How's that going?
It's actually great. I think there's, it's aside from the monetary costs, because I think the last expansion was Cthulhu, and everyone got Cthulhu, and you built decks around it.
Right.
This time it's it's every class has a legendary quest, and so you don't get one for free. You do get some dust from before if you had old legendaries, which they pushed back off the new standard rotation that happened. But if you didn't have those, you have to you're required to have a quest to even run that deck.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like a lot bigger of a money sink than before. Even though I think it's the same exact price in terms of if you want to buy every card, it just feels worse this time.
I see.
But yeah, I'm like whatever. Currently, like that about to hit legend, and I'm just like, okay, I'm about to hit legend and then off to a new game.
It's only halfway into the month too, so that's pretty good.
I probably could have done it in the first week, but I'm just playing random shit.
Yeah. So let's see. Next week we have TSM versus C9 to look forward to yet again.
Well, dude, come on, man. TSM has made every single finals. They've played against either C9 or COG, or the very first one was against GGU. In fact, in this very apartment, Miles, Daydreaming Horde, has been to more LCS finals than most people in the LCS.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, actually.
TSM has just a monopoly, yeah. And we're talking about how Bjergsen has been part of 8 of 9 of those.
It's something crazy. It's like at least he's been part of over 5.
He's probably the player who's been to the most finals, huh? Because like TSM's had some general changes, right? Like the supports have changed over time. 80 carries, kind of, right? Because they had Wild Turtle, then they had Double If, and then Wild Turtle again.
Yeah, I don't think he's been to the very most.
Yeah.
He's crazy. He's insane. He's so good.
Bjergsen, pretty good.
Not a bad player, you know?
Yeah. Wait, is Turtle?
Turtle's been to 7? Oh, he's tied with
he's tied. Okay.
Dude, Turtle's actually a monster. Like, when you think about it, he's been...
Wait, he played so well, I felt like. I thought he did good.
In this series, it was like... I think he did good on the Varus games. I just think he shouldn't have gotten Varus. I thought the way that FlyQuest drafted wasn't, like, really that great.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'll talk about that more when we get more in-depth into it. But, I mean... I'm kind of out. Like, usually I have something I want to talk about for
I was going to say, I was like, are you going to go somewhere with that? Like, you just trickled off.
My brain just lagged a little bit, and I just, like, lost my train of thought. And now I'm just, like,
the classic Scarra lag.
Yeah, the classic, you know? Talk about EU LCS.
What is there to talk about?
LCS? I watched, whatchamacallit, Lulu mid get played today, and then... That's
it. Does that remind you of the good days on
Oh, the good days. The days where I would just be like, ban that champion. Never let that champion through draft. I don't know. I think I don't watch enough EU to really make much sense of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just watch EU. I look at the team fights. I'm like, wow, they did that. And I'm like, okay, they played Annie. Whoa. You know? Or, like, I watched Fnatic get beat up the other day. And I was just like, wow, Reckless actually played these fights pretty well. What happened to his team? Like, his jungler didn't his front line at all, and like the team played so badly around him in the last couple fights. But like, I didn't watch the rest of the game, so maybe they like helped them get there, you know?
Yeah, I didn't watch it at all. Trying to think of what League of Legends I watched besides LCS. I watched the KT versus Samsung massacre that happened. I only actually watched the first 2 games because I was just like, this is going to be a 3-0, and it was. What happened this week in League of Legends? Was there anything interesting?
I mean,
there was like the Tainted Minds thing, I think, right? That was kind of funny.
That was. I'll go with humorous. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that in general, like they updated like the the Ocean X server had like their winning team, which was Direwolves won OPL. But like not many people watch the region. I was gonna say no one watches the region, but a couple thousand people do. And I don't really follow other regions, so it's like I think outside of I think it was either this week or the week before I identified like all the MSI like specific details to like the playing groups and all of that stuff. Aside from that, there really has not been much league news. Like it's just been like everyone knows it's the playoff games, and you know next week is Vancouver, and everyone's kind of getting hyped for that as well as the EU location, which I forgot.
Is OC going on right now? And we're I have no idea. I have no idea if OC is on right now, but I don't know, dude. I'm definitely running on like 60% because like
you're just not feeling it. Oh, they announced their new mid-season update. Where they talked about like what they were doing for the 3 new tanks.
Yeah, with Zach, Maokai,
Sejuani?
and Sejuani.
Which I thought was pretty funny because I was just like, okay. Because one of the biggest things they would talk about was like, we want to make it. I was reading this on Zach, and I was just like, okay, it makes sense. They want to make Zach. First of all, I don't think Zach really needs changes. I think Zach is a unique champion. He's got like a bunch of cool stuff with his kit. I don't think he's unfun to play.
Yeah.
And there's a reason to play him because the initiation range is like your entire screen, 1100 range or something like that. 1300 range, I think. And so, with that in mind, they're just like, we want to make everything about this champion as satisfying as using his E. And I'm like, well, that's very ambitious because not a lot of other champions can even say they have something as satisfying as Zach E.
Right.
And so, what did they do? They changed his Q to like hit when you use it on someone and then you auto something, they then come together and get CC'd. And I was just like, well, that sounds cool and all, but of all the things I would touch on the champion, the thing that feels the least interactive, the least interactive is the W. The W is just like you spam the button as you pick up this up. And I understand it's necessary for jungle clearing and doing DPS, but it's like they could have made it more unique, I guess. But instead they like opted for his Q, which I thought was still like okay before. Yeah. And then they have his ulti being like some really weird thing where he can hold
people and like move them.
Yeah, and then like if they get stuck in a thing when he comes back up, he like moves them over somewhere. And I was just like, this is
I don't know,
insane.
Out of like the champions that I thought needed reworks, like I understood why Sejuani would need a rework.
One actually has the best rework.
I think that was like on point. And then like the Maokai one, I feel like they just realized that they like fucked up with that champion.
Yeah, the Maokai was too good because he just took. There was no situation where Maokai was a bad tank. I think it's only now that he's being picked over, like Knowledge is being picked over him, but usually if tanks are meta, Maokai's just the best one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I want a tank that can lane as well as hard CC, initiate,
provides random utility, like being able to scout with his sapling.
Yeah, and then like has an ulti that can reduce damage for your whole team. And so like the guy is just good at doing everything. And so if you ever wanted a tank, you just picked it.
Yeah, oh my god. When I think about that kit, like Maokai's kit, it's just like, okay, so he has an AoE knockup thing with his Q. He has a W, which makes him untargetable and also gives him a guaranteed CC option.
And they added percentage max health to it.
Yeah, I'm not even getting to that part yet. Okay. And then, like, on top of that, he just has really great base stats as a tank. And then his ulti just reduces all damage to whoever's in that circle by 20%, including himself. So that champion's already nuts, right? Like, just from, like, a tank perspective, he's just really good. And then, why did they ever add the percent damage? I remember the patch that they added that in, and I was just like, this has got to be a mistake. This is, like, 100% a mistake. And I remember when people first started playing Maokai top, because, like, before then everyone was playing Maokai jungle, and then it was just like, oh my god, if you go Rod of Ages on this guy, you can, like, two-shot 80 carries. It was just like, oh, this is disgusting.
Yeah, Maokai has always been a big problem child for their tank rework.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that happened actually is that Bjergsen hit 1 million followers. The first League of Legends player, Western League of Legends player, because I think in China there have been a couple who've already hit 1 million because their population is like
insanely big.
So like it's hard to compare. So Bjergsen is the first Western player in League of Legends because Call of Duty has had a couple.
Yeah,
they've hit 1 million. They've hit 1 million followers.
Yeah, Twitter. That's nuts. Actually, 1 million. Who's like the second closest person?
I thought it was. Dyrus actually.
Oh really? What's
I wasn't
Dyrus at?
Sure. I think Dyrus is at like 600K, give or take.
Jesus
no, it's not Dyrus. It's someone else. I feel like I thought PK could have hit this, by the way, or I think Double If might be the next one.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if Double If was the next biggest, but yeah, 1 million people. I mean, it's gonna become more and more commonplace, right? Like League is getting bigger and bigger. Is Cutie up there? But he's not.
He's not. He's never been like super big on Twitter. Like Double's at 600K, and I think that Dyrus is at 880K.
80K, damn. Wait, I feel like people are just randomly throwing out numbers now.
No, Dyrus has 680. Yeah, they just threw random stuff out there. Yeah, but I think that was actually super impressive because it was like a big turning point. Maybe not turning point, but big point where I was just like, wow, esports has gotten pretty sizable. You know, if you follow a player who has 1 million, for me, 1 million followers used to be you'd have to follow like artists or like musicians.
Yeah,
you
people
have to follow
who have mainstream,
or you'd follow
audiences.
like sports players, you know,
Yeah,
like big basketball players have like multi-millions, big singers, and I was just like, we've hit it, you know, one person that's hit it, Bjergsen has hit it, but we've hit it.
That's actually insane to me though. Like that Call of Duty has had already some people who had millions of Twitter followers.
Yeah,
like where did
I
that
don't
come
even know
from?
where they came from. I think the console. I think they came from YouTube. A lot like
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube and Call of Duty tournaments were like really big, and I think they're like a lot of it were like console players who came in.
Yeah,
which was really surprising to me that they hit that mark. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't follow COD. I can't name a single pro. I know obviously like there are certain names that hover around like Nadeshot or like FaZe Clan that you hear a lot.
Nadeshot's who I hear the most. Nadeshot has 2.8 million followers. That's
Jesus Christ,
insane.
No, they came from YouTube because of Nadeshot, huh? Yeah, I had no idea. But I mean, Call of Duty is like one of the biggest games around.
Yeah,
like they're like
there's a reason it like prints money for them.
Yeah. They don't have they don't have as much of an online presence, right? Like I can't name a tournament from Call of Duty or like.
I actually think they have like a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
It's just that like unless you're specifically in the scene, like it would never reach you. And
right.
Very rarely do I feel like the League of Legends people like also watch Call of Duty.
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
feel like very separate audiences.
Yeah, it's like hard enough to even watch League or like play League, and they're completely different games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it wasn't big on Twitch either because I remember Call of Duty used to be like I think mainstream MLG for a long time.
Yeah. So like the MLG circuit was when like I remember everyone was watching these COD tournaments and Halo tournaments and stuff like that. But then like that was before League had really hit its stride and all that stuff. But
one person in the chat's like, I follow both, man. Don't forget about me. I'm just like, you
all
go,
right,
man.
You go. Out of the people who are watching, there's probably like 2 people who follow both. So, I just Halo 3. Did you play much of the Halo games?
I loved Halos 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then I think when 3 came out, I was okay with it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I didn't play it much.
Halo 2 was my favorite game, like that me and my friends would play. There was all sorts of like weird bugs and glitches that like made the game just like insanely fun. And like there was like this bug that you could do because like Halo 2 was when they introduced being able to dual wield and like all and like that sort of thing. And so like what you could do is you could take the rocket launcher or like a sniper rifle and use it to lock onto someone and then switch to the beam sword and you go like flying across the map. And so like you would go onto like a giant ass map and you just see people fly at each other with the sword. It was so funny.
I actually don't remember that at all. Yeah. I just remember Halo 2 being like my favorite Halo by far. I remember especially watching like a recent Duncan video, he like commented on it. Like when you have a flagship game for your new console release, Halo was the flagship game for Xbox.
Oh, 100%.
And like the thing you remember about Halo is like you not only do you remember the game, like the soundtrack is just beast. Yeah. If that ever comes on, instantly you're just like, I know that shit, dude. That's Halo. That's my jam.
Oh my god. So at Riot, they play video game music in the bathrooms, and you're just taking a shit there. And then you just hear it. You're like, oh my god, I'm so hyped for this shit.
It's actually really weird. When I first went in there, I was like, wait, they do play some kind of weird music.
Yeah. They also play Lord of the Rings. I'm telling you, you haven't lived until you've taken a shit to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. It's great.
I don't know what he's on. I don't know if I would like that. Usually I like very calm, no music, but maybe I've been missing out.
Yeah, dude, clearly you need some soundtrack to your bathroom.
Dude, Riot's just way ahead of the curve. I remember when I go to Riot, I'm just like, they have so many snacks that I've never heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they have, okay, Riot has the normal snacks, right? They have chips, they got like Cheetos, Doritos, and then they have like, you start getting like a little bit stranger. You're like, okay, well, they have, what's the next step up? I think they have Sun Chips. Maybe not. No.
Not anymore.
They have like
they've gone like full like weird off-brand. Yeah, like a lot of gluten-free stuff.
Okay, so they have gluten-free rice crackers.
Yep.
They have like
seaweed
wraps. They have crepes wrapped up in like very tightly, and it's legit just like every time I go to Riot, I like try one new snack.
Yeah.
And I've yet to finish them. I'm missing like
they rotate them too.
Oh, do they really?
They rotate them. I don't know how often, but occasionally you'll just see something new and it'll be there for like a couple days and then never come back out again. And, like, it's really annoying because like they'll sometimes have like a snack that you really want. And so what ends up happening, so the riot strat is you go in the morning when they rotate all everything, you hoard them. You like take like a bunch and put them in your desk.
You guys have some interesting strategies.
Yeah, well, like the snack game is really important at Riot, so you have to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, for people, if you ever decide, if you're ever on the fence about do I want to work on Riot or not, you just gotta ask yourself: one, do I like free food on the campus? And the answer, wait, is it free?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do I like free? Their cafeteria, by the way, it's actually beast. It's so good.
It's so good.
Like legit, like. All the riders just find excuses to eat there because one, it's free, and two, it's just like it's like very low hassle. I feel.
Yeah, the food there is just good. Like the pizza there, I love it. And yeah, I've lived in this apartment now for 4 months. I still haven't gone grocery shopping for real food.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because I don't need to. Because I get 10 meals out of my week free at Riot because I eat lunch and dinner there throughout the week, and then
if you eat lunch and dinner there every single day, you actually don't have to do anything.
You save so much money actually. So,
all right, so that's a big thing, and then the other thing is they have the best.
Freeloader.
They have the best chairs. They have everyone at Riot works and gets a free Herman Miller chair. And if you don't know what a Herman Miller chair is, just Google it.
They're so expensive.
Just Google it and look at the price tag. Watch when the price of a chair extends to from the 3 to the 4-digit number, you're just like, oh. And I think that because every time I go there, I'm always thinking to myself, I should cop one of these because it's like they have two in the wall. They have some on the side, and I'm just like, if I take that, would they even know this? And they always have two out in the stadium outside.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, everyone crosses this area to go get concessions. How is no one stolen one?
It's actually insane because those chairs are so expensive that if you stole it, it wouldn't even be a misdemeanor. It'd be a straight up felony because of how expensive those chairs are. Those chairs are so damn expensive, and they're worth it, man. They're so comfy.
Like I said, one reason not to steal it, hundreds of reasons to steal it. Just kidding. Please don't go to the studio and steal those chairs. I'm just saying, they're really nice chairs.
Yeah.
They got the whole stuff. They're supposed to be ergonomically great for you. It feels nice to sit on. They don't break. They last forever. All that stuff, man.
Yeah, people always talk about nice gaming chairs, and they talk about DX racers. Those Riot chairs are way comfier than DX
but they're
racers.
also a factor of 4 times more expensive.
Yeah.
So I hope they're more comfortable at that.
Yeah. God damn. Yeah, working at Riot's pretty nice, gotta say. They don't pay very well, but
Oh, speak for yourself, dude. That contract there, you should see my bank account, dude.
Contract is different.
It's like they start paying me with four-digit values a day, 5-digit values a day, man. Their esports budget, you can't even count the zeros at the end. I'm just kidding.
Nah. Other news today was the end of CEO Dreamland. CEO Dreamland, which is big Smash tournament, and Mewtwo King took his first major in a while.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He beat Hungrybox, and then poor SFAT. Do you know who these guys are?
I know of them. Okay. I just don't know.
Well, SFAT is a CLG player, and he's not considered a god, right? He's not a top 6 player. But he got to grand finals. He beat Mewtwo King on his way up. He beat Hungrybox, and then he just gets in grand finals. Yeah.
Where was Armada during all this? He dropped early, or he didn't go?
He didn't go. Are you kidding me? If Armada was there, he'd win.
What?
I think the funniest thing though about this tournament is that so another top 10 player, Plup, decided that he was going to play all Luigi. Out of nowhere, he's just like I'm just going to play Luigi. And he goes, and he instantly places the highest Luigi's ever placed.
Really?
Yeah. Because, Plup's just that good. Yeah. For people who don't know, by the way, from our previous conversation, I work at Riot, so
Yeah, for people who don't know from our previous conversation, I don't work at Riot.
Yeah.
But I do contract for them for 1 or 2 days a week, usually on LCS days. However, I will not be going to Vancouver because they are staffing Vancouver with all of their normal on-air talent. And I don't think they'll have a single contractor there. Me and Mark will not be at the desk for Vancouver. So this is the last week you'll see me or Mark in the suit up until next split. Maybe MSI? It's probably next split.
I don't know.
You're right. You wouldn't know. I'm just saying all the way over there.
Yeah. I wish I could go, you know. One day we're going to have a nice sponsor for PLT, and they'll all ship us to Vancouver, and we'll do a fan meet. It'll be great, but this is not that time.
yeah, definitely not.
So I think Mark is going to be in Vancouver, so if you guys want to meet Mark, go talk to him. I hear he's really great with his fans. No, he's not. That was an absolute lie.
At least it's not as bad as Fionn. Have you seen him work with his fans?
No.
It's so funny because he doesn't want to be on camera.
Yeah.
Legit, people come up to me. He's like, "Hey, dude, are you Fionn?" And Fionn's like, "Yeah. What's up?" He's like, "Can I get a signature? Can I get a picture?" No. And he just walks away. I'm just like, "Oh my god!" I'm like standing next to him and be like, "Oh, Jesus!" It's strict denial, instant denial.
God damn. He's just like super camera shy, right? Like that's like the thing.
Yeah. The most random thing actually about the Vancouver, like aside from the teams going, actually from what I understand, QD will be there, and QD never leaves the house.
Yeah.
So when I found out he was going, immediately I asked my manager, what is he getting paid to get there? Like, who is paying him? Which company shelled out?
Why is he going?
Shelled out so much money to get Cutie Pie there. What is he doing there? And I found out that he's just going because Leisha wants to go. And I'm just like, this is like the first time I've ever seen Cutie leave the house for anything that's not TwitchCon. And I think he has to go to TwitchCon because it's literally written in his contract.
Yeah, he has to go.
And so, like, aside from that, like, I would never expect Cutie to be going anywhere.
So if you guys ever want to meet Cutie, you have to go through Leisha first. You got to convince Leisha that she needs to go.
Oh, like, yeah.
Go inception into her mind. Plant the idea that she wants to go somewhere.
If you want Cutie back in the pro scene, all you have to do is convince Leisha to move to that. It's a good idea. So, like, I'm just saying, if you guys want to sweet talk Cutie, you go through Leisha.
Yeah.
She's the access point.
That's the weak point to Cutie.
I'm actually sad I'm not going to Vancouver because I hear the sushi super good. Also, since I come from US dollars to go to Canada.
Oh, I know. It's like everything's like a 30% sale.
Yeah, I'm like making so much bank. I'm like, oh, this cost me $6 for a meal. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about going, but I have other obligations. I'm going to go play a Prio at least. So.
If anyone's ever curious why...
So I'll be in San Francisco.
Yeah, why Mark is not here, or Josh is not here on the pre-show. Usually it's a couple things.
Usually it's like Magic or Smash related.
Yeah, usually it's just those two related. So if he's not here, like, even if he's sick, he might still be here.
Yep.
But if it's one of those two things, like a new set comes out, peace, guys.
Yeah,
you're not gonna see me the entire weekend. You'll see me Monday.
We go hard with Magic, like when a new set comes out, a lot of times we'll have like a draft-a-thon thing where we set aside one full day where we draft like 6 times during the day.
Yeah, I was in one of those.
Yeah.
Those were insane.
Yeah.
Legit, I think we played 3 drafts. 3 like full drafts.
Yeah.
So like we play like 2 games per.
Yep.
Or 3 games per like rotation, and it took us almost 10 hours.
Yeah, we get in at noon and we don't leave until it's midnight.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. The people that Josh works with or that plays with are like all insane. We're talking like a guy who comes in and he's just like, new set comes out, give me 4 cases.
Yep.
And it's like each case is what, 4 boxes?
It depends. So sometimes there's 6 boxes in a case.
Okay, so it's like he throws down like couple $1,000 every time for a new set, and they just like they just go nuts. I mean, I think it's really cool actually. If I was super into Magic, I would do the same thing. But right now, it's like hard to be that into Magic with balancing all the rest of the stuff that I do.
Yeah, I just like I don't know. I'm not into Magic as much as I used to be. Like 2 years ago, I was like playing like tournaments and stuff and trying to like get good at Modern and shit, but I kind of gave up. And then standard sucks right now, as it always does. What do I do at Riot? Because I see a lot of people ask. I'm a producer there, so currently...
not only produces our show, also produces Riot shows.
Well, kind of. So, like, when I was doing All Chat, I was obviously, like, on-camera talent for that, but I was also doing writing and directing from the back end of things as well. And then once All Chat died, it freed me up to do other projects, so I'm working on a project that I can't talk about, but hopefully you guys will see something about it in the back half of the year. It's like this crazy project. I'm super excited about it, but yeah.
It's like one of the secret projects you can't talk about unless you're good friends with him. You know, I know the project. I don't, but he'll tell me about it later.
If you guys all collectively, sign an NDA, I'll tell you guys all about it. But.
Yeah, and not only sign an NDA, also give him money. Like, just like, you give him, tip him a little bit for the information. Like, you get to know Riot's secrets ahead of time. That at least is worth a couple $100 per person.
Man, I can't believe people actually miss All Chat. That's actually insane to me.
Yeah, I don't miss that shit.
God damn. Look, like...
We just had...
we were
just shocked by Mark's graceful entrance.
Oh, look, everyone's signing the NDA. Now I can talk about it. JK, I'm out. Later.
Were you not able to talk about
the project I'm working
on? We were just talking about All Chat too, and about how it was a great show. It was sorely missed by the community.
Yeah, the only problems with the hosts.
Yeah, the host sucked.
Get James.
This guy in particular.
Get James Douche Patterson. James Douche Patterson out of there. Peterson.
All right. Well, time for the actual show.
Yes. Woo. Mark, our glorious leader, has joined us.
Leader.
Okay, our glorious...
I mean, I'll take it. I just didn't know I was officially leader. I can make more decisions now?
No.
Oh.
Our glorious co-host has finally joined us for the analysis portion of Post-League Time. For people who don't know, Post-League Time is an LCS analysis show. Today we're analyzing the game that just happened, which is FlyQuest versus TSM.
Yep, it was a 3-0 in favor of TSM. I managed to take barely half a page of notes for a best of 5, which is kind of sad. This is about as many notes as I would take for a best of 3 that went to 3 games.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's like 2 games worth.
Yeah,
out of like a normal series.
Yeah.
I actually didn't mind today's games that much.
No, they were fun.
I think there's stuff to talk about, whereas I felt like the other series, maybe not so much.
I think there's a lot to talk about, especially in the context of looking forward to next week as well. So why don't we just dive right into it? Like we said, this is a 3-0 for TSM. The series as a whole, it was pretty much never in doubt that TSM was going to win. Maybe like a little bit in Game 1, but after Game 1, and especially going into Game 2, you're like, okay, TSM have this. They generally went a little close in the early game, and then come mid-game, TSM would start getting advantages. They had better objective play. They almost always got the Dragons. And then even if the mid-game team fights were still like, 1-for-1s or 2-for-2s, TSM was still coming out slightly ahead, and there was usually like one back-breaking fight that ended the game.
The way I see the series play out, the first game, this fight Scarra's ability to hard feed.
Yeah.
TSM was TSM was still able to win, and as soon as they win the first game, you already know other teams kind of in trouble. The second game was the Scarran show. He was put on Lee Sin, which I think, and most people think, his best jungler. He just pops off on this jungler. Double kills bot lane, kills top lane, just runs the gauntlet this game. It's a stomp. Going to the third game, it was kind of similar, but it wasn't so much the Scarra show as it was just like a good performance from TSM.
Right.
FlyQuest lose, a couple fights here and there. I think the biggest one was they got a bot lane fight turned around, which when they were ahead 2-0 and they lost Dragon, and TSM just taking advantageous fights, and in one fight every single game TSM would lose by one person, but for the most part it was pretty dominant overall, all by TSM.
And a lot of the skirmishes ended up with TSM getting objectives, and FlyQuest rarely got much off of their skirmishes that they won. So they're just always coming out a little bit behind. So why don't we dive right into Game 1 in depth? And this was, I felt like the series was really heavily decided by the junglers. Well, not decided, but the early game action was all junglers for the most part.
I think that's true for a lot of teams. It's hard for, that's exactly what you put junglers, or what junglers do right now. They are the early game X factor. They can, all the lanes are stable. You know who, for the most part, who wins, who loses most lanes. Unless there's huge skill discrepancy, it's not really one person hard smashes 30 CS up and kills the other guy. That only happened I think in that, from what I understand, the Samsung game.
Yeah.
Where like legit they got hard smashed. But for the most part,
Def was like hulking out.
That's really, really rare.
And so FlyQuest Draft, I actually like it aside for one pick that ruins the entire thing for me.
What? Braum?
That
was a really random pick.
I know Lemon does not have like a great Thresh, but you need to take something that the Ashe lane can actually do something with. Because we talked about in the analyst desk, Ashe is like the OP pick right now. It's not even super OP, but it doesn't lose any matchups. It builds a Blade of the Rune King. It's relevant to all points in the game. It has the ultimate to start fights. It has everything you'd ever want in a champion. So just grab it first. It doesn't lose matchups. Great decision there. I like the Rumble Talon. I think the Gragas brings some beef that you need. Now that you have the Gragas, you do not need the Braum. Take any range champion and try and like not lose that bot lane so hard.
So while Lulu and Malzahar were gone and Karma was first picked, there was still probably another option or two that they could have gone.
I would have liked Zyra. Zyra gets banned in the second rotation, which I understand, but he doesn't play Bard. He doesn't play Thresh. He's starting around things like this. He's not going to play MF in this situation.
Yeah, I think he kind of just got locked into picking something that he was maybe a little bit more uncomfortable on.
Yeah,
and which is why like in later games they just pick Zyra.
Well, that's why I think they messed up their bans in the first rotation. I don't think you ban Lulu because then the other team bans Malzahar. I think you leave both up. If they take Malzahar, you pick the Lulu. If otherwise, you just play Lulu Karma.
I think they came into the first game expecting to play Talon.
So their strategy was get Rumble Talon first rotation and get Ashe first pick.
Yes. And so with that in mind, they couldn't leave up Lulu because they were afraid that if the other team first picked it, they have no answer. And so,
because what you're concerned about is going Rumble Talon, and then Karma gets banned with Zyra in the second phase.
Yeah, something like that. And even in general, if the other one team does have Karma, but the other team has Lulu, it's still hard to play Talon into that setup.
Yeah.
And so I can understand what they were trying to do in this situation. Generally, I just thought that the draft was a little bit scary because it's like, it depends a little bit on Wild Turtle's Lucian to do well. Like bot lane.
And that can be scary. And when I mean, like the reason I was okay with it is because it's against the Braum, and like Ashe Braum is not super strong inherently.
Right, but even how the game played out, like I was so mad about how Lucian got kills this game. Like
like the bot lane stuff. Well, let's get there in a minute because we got to talk about the jungle pathing at the very beginning. Because I thought Sven super out jungle Moon in like the first 5-6 minutes of the game.
Absolutely great.
Destroyed him.
Pathing. It was where he caught him on
the going over the Dragon Wall.
Yeah, going over the Dragon Wall. He had to eat back in. He took the small Raptors, went in, contested them at that, then went topside, and then everything was going perfect.
Yeah, everything was going perfect. It's like, all right, we're smashing jungle. Let's go for a blue buff invade.
And
this is the classic Sven Scarra. Most classic Sven move. Go for an invade without top priority. Get cut off and killed, and then like Haunster's like, yeah, I'll make this play look even worse. I'll die too. I'll fail my flash and die.
Oh, when that happened, I was like, oh my god, FlyQuest is a chance this series.
Yeah.
Because at that point, actually, Moon pulls ahead of his counterpart, even though he's been set behind the entire time. Because before this route, it was level 5 jungler to level 6, contesting at the blue buff, and he got a small Raptor stolen again.
Yeah, so that kept happening, and while all this is going on, and your jungle's losing, and your top lane's losing, your bot lane's smashing, but it's like, you can't make any plays with it. They tried to, and that's like where things went bad. Because like, if they just kept up with the jungle pressure with the losing top but a winning bot lane, I think they're fine. But because they messed that up and let Moon back in the game, it allows his counter ganks in the bot lane to be a lot stronger.
Yeah, and the second thing that blows open the game was the counter gank in the bot lane, right? I think this is really good of TSM. The stuff I'd like to see more of in terms of like, the positioning was not good because they didn't know where the jungler was, but they know where mid lane is. I think they just pushed him back because they went for the rotation.
Yeah, he was in base the first time.
They went for the rotation bot lane with the mid and jungle. Stuff that I'd like to see more out of TSM, the mid and jungler working together. However, in this situation, the way they dive was like so greedy, like behind the tower, no vision of Gragas.
Equal teleports.
Yeah, equal teleports. And so they at best we're going to be one-man advantage. And at worst,
usually a turret counts as a man. So like if you're doing a 5v4 dive, it's still pretty hard.
Yeah, and then like a nightmare situation happened where like Bjergsen got hit with Ashe Arrow into Gragas ulti into the tower, blew both sums.
Yeah.
So like it's like a terrible position for him to be in after this fight cuts off. And I think they split even, but splitting even is terrible because High ran back to mid lane, gets free farm.
Yeah, so my problem, I like the idea of forcing plays around your power point on the map. I think that's good. I just don't think they were really telegraphed. And every single time FlyQuest was there to counter it, I would have liked to have seen, maybe Graves goes top with the Nautilus and sets a play up on the Rumble and forces his TP out of lane, and then you go bottom. It didn't feel like they really secured enough advantages to make sure that this play was going to work.
Yeah, usually you do that, or the other thing that I actually think Sven did a good job of before he died in the blue buff was like constantly putting vision.
Yeah, the vision was super good.
Like, yeah, constantly putting vision into like the Raptor camp, and so being able to know where the jungler is, like you can make that play if you get enough vision out. Yeah. And maybe because then you go steal his camps, or you chunk him out, and then make the play. I actually thought like it was funny because at one point I always felt like TSM's vision game was pretty good.
Yeah.
But sometimes, even though their vision game was really good, like that at one point, I don't know if it was this game or the second game where they had 3 pinks top river and 2. I think it was the second game. So I'll get to that when we get over there. But but a lot of times I feel like even with their vision control, something random happens where like they die on the other side of the map.
Even though for FlyQuest TSM.
TSM.
Yeah.
And so even though they have like a lot of control vision wise, it seems that sometimes even they don't do it like the vision control doesn't lead to the correct controlled plays.
Right. So like an example of that would be 14 minutes in the game. They're trying to finish off the bot turret and they greed out for it. And so it's like, doesn't matter if you have vision control. You're just like not respecting the fact that they're coming to punish you for trying to finish this turret. TSM gets 2 furrowed. FlyQuest should win, but then they like had a problem of overstaying a lot this game. So like they kill a bunch of people in the bot lane. They go push up the turret. It's like, this is great. And then Turtle just gets a solo kill onto Alltech, and High dies mid.
Yeah, there was a lot, especially this game. I was really mad about how Lucian got kills.
Yeah, well, that's the first one that's like, okay, that was dumb.
And this is like a situation where it's like, I don't think Lucian getting picked into Ashe should be like a good thing, you know?
No.
They at least had a favorable support matchup, which I think makes the Lucian pickable. If you think your bot lane is equal or better than the other bot lane, I would say go for it. And so this is a game where I was like, okay, Turtle has to prove he's doing really, really well. And he just got the most random kills. The Gragas solo kill, the Ashe solo kill. I was looking at these, I was just like, what is going on with this game? Like, how is he coming out 3-0 when he didn't even win? Like, he didn't even get the kills in laning phase.
Yeah, and like, yeah, they even traded 1-for-1 with High that one time where like Biofrost like killed himself to get the kill.
Yeah, and it was stuff where you were just like, he's getting the kills, but he's not playing well to do it. And then,
but to be fair, he wasn't playing bad. It wasn't like he was being an idiot and getting rewarded. It was just people were being dumb around him, and he's like,
yeah,
I can kill that person.
Yeah, and I think that then he had the classic Turtle play where he flashes forward and tries to kill High and then kills himself. And at that point, I was like, wow, maybe FlyQuest has this game. But I think most of this game was essentially that FlyQuest couldn't convert off getting kills, and TSM could. Something that you said before.
Right, so there was like an example, 21 minutes in the game. Once again, TSM overstaying topside, trying to finish a turret off. FlyQuest get like a 2-for-0, and they like might be able to look at Baron, because it was like kind of late enough in the game, and I think they killed the enemy jungler, so you thought maybe they could get it, but they just couldn't, and it just led to a situation where FlyQuest, one thing we say about them is they're always going to like beat their head against the wall and keep looking for the play and keep looking for the play, and like sometimes they just mess it up, and that's like what happened where they just missed the Ashe arrow.
Yep, the missed the Ashe arrow and then into whatchamacallit.
High just like went really hard.
Yeah, High went really hard on the Graves. I think messed up his rotation on the Graves too. Could they pick up the kill? And them dying, they lost Baron. I think they lost Dragon right after.
Yeah.
The thing about this is actually, I know Ashe got a lot of critique this game for missing Ashe arrows constantly. And not just the situation at red side, but just in general, he missed a decent amount. Like he missed one at the bot tower when he was aiming for the backline. Yeah. I think a lot of this game, the initiation doesn't just fall on Ashe. Because when Ashe is in that position, the Nautilus can frontline the Ashe arrow. So what has to happen is the Gragas has to set up the play for the team as well.
Did you think Moon played? I thought Moon played really well once he got back in the game. He had a lot of insects where he would like knock one member back in the team and let them finish him off.
I thought he played okay. I think as he got back in the game, I thought he played really well at the very beginning when he got back. Like he got the blue buff, he got jungle lead, XP lead, and then kind of going into the mid-game pass, I felt like he wasn't the one starting the fights a lot of times. It felt like they were depending on Ashe too, and that's totally correct in a lot of situations.
What up, Riv? Apparently he's in here. I didn't see it, but everyone's talking about Rivington being in here.
Oh, what up, Riv? But
sorry to distract.
No, it's no problem. But yeah, I think that Ashe shouldn't be forced to start all of these fights. Like
No, and the perfect example is this one where they throw that lead. Bjergsen has no flash, and they're in range for Rumble. And you know, they start with the Ashe arrow instead of starting with the Rumble ultimate. I don't usually like starting fights with Rumble ultimate because people just walk out of it, but against a flashless Syndra in the jungle, just Rumble ult on top of him, slow him down, and the Ashe arrow becomes guaranteed. Instead, they start with the Ashe arrow, and it's a 50-50 if he tries to juke it or not. Alltech shoots it like he's expecting Bjerg to juke, and he doesn't juke, and he just runs straight.
Yeah, people gave him so much shit for that. And I was just like,
That's a 50-50 arrow.
Yeah, come on. And the bot lane arrow, which he field goaled between the thing, you know why he did that? It's because he wanted to hit back line, but he didn't want to hit the front line. If he hit the Nautilus, that arrow does nothing. And so he was aiming for the back line there, and he couldn't hit it. So I was just like, that sucks. But like at that point, like Moon has to be the decider. And I thought Moon understood that in the mid team fight, the very last one.
Yeah.
He spaghettied so hard.
I saw you tweet that.
God,
you were mad. You were so mad.
No, it's because it's like, oh my god. I saw what he was trying to do. He was trying to get the E-flash into ulti onto Bjergsen or the AD. The AD gets out. He E's, and then as he flashes, Bjergsen Zanya's. So his E-flash hits no one, and he throws the ulti anyways because he cues it up into the Zanya's, and it hits no one. And then he just walks out, and you're just like, oh my god, they lost. And so I don't blame him for this series because everyone will flub something. It just sucked in that situation where Moon finally finds the angle, finds the play, wasn't able to convert.
So what I'll say is I agree that like it's okay to miss some arrows. I still think Alltech missed too many. There were like a number of times where he just like whoop, just right down the middle.
I think there's one or two I would agree with. I just think there's some situations where it's like it's not all on him.
Right. So I think this one, even though he missed it, I think the way that they, like the whole team played that one out, just start with Rumble ult. Once he's slowed, you have the guaranteed Ashe ult into like this kind of stuff. And maybe that, like, who knows who's calling that, so I don't want to throw it all on Alltech. Like, oh my god, why didn't he just wait for the Rumble ult? Because maybe someone's like, arrow him. And he's like, okay, guys. Like, I have a feeling that that's like how those calls go.
Yeah. So I guess I do agree with you. He did miss a little bit too many.
Yeah.
But I don't think he missed that as many as people are saying. You know, maybe a little bit too much, but he definitely could have played the game better. Because his team comp, a lot of it does rely on him getting picks in the mid game.
Yep, and I mean, for the most part, I mean, FlyQuest did find some decent picks on people.
Yeah,
I think when he and Moon were comboing well together, you saw that like maybe this team has a chance.
Right, and this is the game where you always think of TSM game 1 as the game where like Sven doesn't do too well, maybe intentionally feeds, and then they lose the game because people get desperate with their jungler behind, and then TSM picks it back up, smashes the rest of the series essentially.
Yeah.
This is a game where it looked maybe that the general path. But then TSM brought it back together. FlyQuest was able to convert, and maybe if FlyQuest was able to hit more initiations in the mid game, they would be able to do something.
Right. That doesn't turn out. They flub disengage. They go way too hard. They all die. Well, not all of them. It's like a 3 for something. And then they lose Baron, and then they just don't hold on to the game well, and it's basically over as soon as that's done. The next game, FlyQuest is on blue side all series long because they basically are like, we want Ashe no matter what. And I don't hate that idea.
I don't hate it either. Ashe sounds okay.
I just don't like this comp for them. Ashe, Karma, Orianna, Kennen, Ivern. When you're putting your greatest mismatch maybe in top lane against Haunter, a potential MVP candidate, like, oh, I'm sure Kennen will smash this Renekton, because that's what this comp needs, is it needs a 4-1 essentially.
Yes.
And then you're also putting all your chips in, like, Alltech will do a lot of damage if we shield for him. Which, like, neither of those, and then you have no proactive playmaking.
Yeah,
really.
You have no initiation this game.
You have an Ashe arrow you can shoot, and you can chain CC people, but they have no front line.
I thought when I was looking at this comp, this is a comp where you really depending on your laners. If you depended on your laners to be stable, it was essentially a jungle decided game. Because whichever jungle was able to get, let's say if jungle got Kennen ahead, which by the way, if you looked at that matchup, Kennen was actually smashing that matchup. When it hit the tower right before Lee was able to get the flank on, it was like 22-10 CS. And had he been able to stay on the tower harassing Renekton, there's no way Renekton cleans up as much CS as he did. But that couldn't happen because, of course, Sven got up there, and Ivor wasn't able to turn that. And eventually,
it was like a really weird play where like Moon was in the right spot to catch Lee Sin out, but then left the spot because he thought he wasn't coming, and then Sven goes over right as he's out of range, so Kennen has no idea. And it was really unfortunate.
Even that wasn't that bad because it just kind of equalized the lane for Kennen. But I mean that's kind of bad, but it's still possible. But the regank from Sven after double killing bot lane kind of sunk this game into the ground. I thought.
Right, and like I still don't love the idea because like the way this comp works is Kennen gets ahead, your bot lane should be strong, and then heading into mid game you 4-1 and the Kennen just gets stuff going on his own. But, like, that's never been FlyQuest's style. And, I like, Kobe was saying, he doesn't mind FlyQuest trying to branch out or whatever it is, but
I don't know about branching out during finals. I think this comp is okay if you have winning lanes. The majority winning lanes are the good jungle
But
matchup.
they do.
And yeah, they have Ashe Karma, which I thought, that should smash bot lane.
And it did.
Well, yes. And, by the way, I have no idea why you would care about Ezreal or Lucian playing Ashe Karma every game.
So,
I think Varus is the only champion which can potentially match Ashe. If you play... It's because of the first game, I felt like they got scared of Lucian, and they're like, no, dude, we can't deal with Lucian. And it's like, that's a champion that Ashe counters.
And when you look at the comp, I actually love if the enemy team I would love if the enemy team played Lucian into a ball comp that like outranges Lucian.
If you play Lucian into Orianna, Ivern, Kennen, you're just gonna die. Like,
yeah,
you don't do anything.
You have no one you can like free hit without putting yourself at risk.
Right, and so for the next 2 games, this is what they do. They ban Ezreal, Lucian every game. And I always thought that, why not ban Varus? Because Varus is like actually what's causing a lot of these initiation problems for them. And it always makes Wild Turtle irrelevant, even if you get a laning lead.
So I'll defend it a little bit. I understand the Ezreal ban because Ezreal can be really annoying if you're running this kind of comp where you have no frontline, no one to go in, no lockdown, like no like guaranteed CC. So like you're running at this Ezreal and he's just kiting and shooting you. That can be a little annoying, and I can understand them not wanting to give him Ezreal for that reason. But I don't think the Lucian ban's worth it. And then I can see wanting to play Navarus because he's immobile, so you just snipe him with an Ashe arrow, and then you have chain CC, assuming you land that with like the Ivern. But I still don't think it's a big deal. The question is like, why don't you ban Renekton there? Because maybe you see the Kennen taken away early. Because some people are saying ban the Renekton in the second rotation, right? But if you do that, you're telegraphing a Kennen pick.
I think doesn't Kennen do well into Renekton?
It's not bad.
Yeah, I thought that's a Kennen favorite matchup. Like, it only sucks when the jungle pressure is there, and he was. Like, that's why when I looked at this, I was like, okay, they have 2 favorable lanes, favorable lanes, and mid lane is unfavorable for them. But the jungle, I think the jungle matchup is about even.
Yeah, the jungle matchup's not that bad.
And so I think they have more favorable lanes than not. So really dependent on the junglers to match each other to make sure that this game went stable.
And to be fair, I don't feel like it was Sven out, like Moon didn't do well. I thought Moon did fine.
Early game, Moon did pretty good. He got
the first blood in the bot lane in the gank. He like got a lot of summoners out of them. And I thought that was good, but Sven on Lee is just like a different beast than when he is on anything else.
No, exactly. I think this is his best champion, and he really showed why it's his best champion, because getting a double kill top, camping top lane push, getting the kill top lane.
Turn the bot lane before he got the bot lane kill.
Oh, was that before?
Yeah, because there was a 9 minutes he gets the bot lane kill, then 10:30 he gets the top lane one. So he basically like counters bottom to get them back in the game, then goes top, like right after. So Sven just influenced like every lane basically.
Yeah, I think at some point he was really high kill participation in this game. I think that he also got first tower, and this was this the game where they got a lot of good vision control as well.
Yeah, I mean TSM was smashing this game super hard. Like they had 3K goal lead at 15 minutes, at 25 minutes or whatever it was like up to like 8K or something, 7K, and they were like crushing this game. A lot of it was vision control. They just kept getting turrets for free basically. FlyQuest could not match them in their like rotations and actually defending the turrets. They got dragons. Everything was going well until like one top lane fight.
Yeah, with Hot.
Yeah.
I think this happened both this game, the first game, and the third game. Sometimes TSM will just overstay, and so sure, we'll say that FlyQuest does this as well. But going into next week, this is something that could be a problem. You know, I think
when we talk about this is like FlyQuest almost exploited your 2 biggest like problems.
Yeah, and FlyQuest is a team where I think if you gave them a percentage chance to win this series, you would say 5% or less.
Yeah,
like,
but I think they looked better than I thought they would.
Yes, absolutely. And even they always said that it was a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean it was a dominant 3-0 for TSM, but I was expecting them to smash FlyQuest, and there were like enough consistent advantages that FlyQuest got during all the games in the series that like as a TSM fan you're a little hesitant going up against C9. But we'll get there in a little bit.
Yeah, so actually, the funniest thing about this game I thought was Ori's scoreline was like 1-1-0. Even though I thought Hai actually played a good game, denying a lot of pushes, I thought scoreline just didn't reflect that.
Well, that's why I didn't like this comp, because he's limited in what he can do. Like Hai's a playmaker, Orianna's a great champion for him, and I don't mind it when it's a different comp, when like balls can set him up or someone can set him up, but he has no setup here aside for Ashe arrows, and even then he didn't even rely on those. He just hit better Oriolts on his own.
Yeah, I think they identified this pretty quickly, and in the next game didn't pick Maokai because of it.
Before we finish this game, the one thing I'd say is like TSM seemingly does this, and maybe it's because they think they're playing a little loose versus FlyQuest, but they just like die in the side lane in a fight sometimes, and it's a little scary because they got 4 for Ode or like what was it 3 for Ode, and then they took Baron, or they lost Baron, and then like that stalled out the game where FlyQuest started looking like they could come back, and then like finally Sven finds a flank around the top side.
Yeah. It's the one topic about overstaying, right? I
Yeah.
think TSM is... That was a situation where Turtle wasn't even... Was this a situation where Turtle wasn't even with the team?
I think they were trying to finish the turret,
backed.
and he went back.
Yeah, and then they just overstayed. And this is something that,
And then Turtle tries to steal the Baron, and Hai just goes over and kills him.
Yeah, it was a situation where you're just like, wow, TSM is really good.
Yeah, at killing themselves?
Yeah, like, it was like, oh, God. But you know they're still going to win the game. It just...
Yeah, I mean... It got a little scary there because you're like, oh my god, maybe the ball comp will come online. But like, Kennen was never ahead of the Renekton. Kennen could never push in the Renekton and like chunk him under a turret.
It was at a point where you were wishing the Kennen was AP because at least he could set up the ball for Ori.
Yeah.
But he couldn't do that, and he could never enter the fight without dying instantly.
Yeah. So obviously, Kennen from 80 attack speed, Kennen from behind, fucking useless.
Yes, especially in the comp which doesn't have frontline. Ivern, not a frontline champion. He is a support style mid-range champion that can stand in the front. He's not a tank.
He's like a Thresh a little bit. Where like Thresh is kind of in between your carries and the enemy team, but he's not like I'm on them. I'm locking them down for you.
This guy does not have defensive steroids. Like by defensive steroid, I'm talking like Maokai ulti, right? You're reducing damage by a percentage amount. He has item actives and he has like his shield, and that's it.
He's got Daisy.
Yeah,
which just gets smite.
He's literally got stuff that doesn't help him survive. You do not frontline with Ivern.
Yep.
Unless you're stupidly far ahead. Then, you can frontline because you have 4 items.
Yeah, sure.
But for the most part, not a Gragas, not a Maokai.
And I think this is like the first time, or it was actually all series long, Altec had a lot of positioning problems. Like, there was a time where they're trying to hold the top inner turret, and he just gets chunked out by Syndra, and Bjergsen was like just out of range of ulting him, and like he would have got one shot. And then the final fight, he's like
trying to get kicked by Lee.
Yeah, he's trying to defend like a 10% HP turret, and then Lee just flanks on him and kills him.
Right, and Ori goes mid to clear, and then she's returning with I think Balls pushing out bot lane.
Yeah.
And so there were 3 people under tower where she was the furthest one ahead because everyone else backed off.
Yeah.
Except for the support who stood behind her.
Yeah.
It was a serious situation where I agree with you. There's no reason that this should have happened. I think once they got the Baron, that was a situation where you could have came back.
It's hard. You're still behind. Your comp still doesn't play well from behind. But like, if the enemy team over-aggresses onto you, you can land a big Ori shot.
At the very least, the game shouldn't end right there. Like
it
ended on that push, and you're just like, I guess.
Yeah, that was really sad. And like even going into game 3, he just like got hit by like Nautilus hooks all the time and stuff like that.
I think Syndra in general is just too good of a pick for TSM. This is a champion where like into the 3rd game, FlyQuest is like, gotta ban this shit. I think it sets up TSM really hard, and unless you have good initiation or a good way to pick it, it's really, really hard to play against. And so I think they had this comp as no initiation. So Syndra just runs free with this comp.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe if she's behind, you can Ashe Arrow, Ivern Q, Ori combo and, like, kill him, but you don't have any... Yeah, it's just too hard. You have no one to, like, threaten him to stop him from walking forward and just, like, shooting stuns at you.
Yeah, which is super dangerous, and a lot of people are talking about Lemon dying a lot. I think, yes, some of the times he was out of position. The guy does not position super well of all the supports in NA. However, some of it's just, like, who frontlines in this comp?
Yeah.
Actually,
who stops? That's what I'm saying. Who stops Syndra from walking forward and fishing for stuns?
Yeah. Is it the Ivern? He'll get one shot. Is it the Ashe? She'll get one shot. The Ori? Actually, yeah. Hai was the one that usually had the ball up, pressuring the Syndra and the rest of the team to not walk up, and he had to be in range of getting hit with like.
He got chunked out a lot of times.
Yeah, and it was like he still did that frontlining because of all the people on the team, the Ori had the frontline with the ball, which is not the position you want to be in.
No. Absolutely not. So anyways, FlyQuest lose this game after almost coming back, which leads us into game 3. Unless you have something else you want to finish off?
No, I think that it's good, smart TSM to ban Rumble. I think after the first game, they realized, okay, Balls plays Rumble. He plays it well. All the ultis he hit game 1 were actually really good. We need to get this guy off Rumble. And so, good adaptation by them.
Right, so yeah, heading into game 3, I liked what FlyQuest did again here, where they get the Ashe. I like Kha'Zix's Ori, but this time they have actual setup with a Maokai. They have better follow-up and everything, so they have like a really solid team comp. I like what they have for the most part here. They still have those weird as Lucian bans that you're talking about.
Yeah, I still would have liked Lucian. Varus banned instead of Lucian, but that's not what they did. However, they set themselves up for like, what, a winning bot lane, or like an even/semi-winning bot lane, a mid lane matchup that's a lot better than the Syndra matchup, as well as the top lane is just 2 tanks beating on each other.
To be fair, they do end up with like a lot less pressure around the top side because Maokai just gets hard pushed in by Nautilus.
Yeah, especially if you're going. I think both people went to triple ring build.
Yeah, they went triple Dorans.
Actually, kind of annoys me that that's actually the meta build for that champion. But
dude, that's like always the meta build for Maokai and Nautilus.
Yeah, it's just depressing that it used to be like, oh, he gets like maybe one double Dorans or maybe corrupting Dorans.
You get corrupting double Dorans was what it used to be. It's still like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
These are tanks building triple Dorans rings.
That's okay. I
make them unique. Make them unique.
No, make the passive mana game unique. They probably should at some point.
Yeah, I don't personally like seeing it that much.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into the gameplay because I don't think there's too much to break down from comps. Just 2 standard team comps, right? And once again, Moon, 3rd game in a row, gets first blood. I thought Moon looked really good this series overall, and he gets it mid lane, which was super important because it stops the Taliyah from roaming all game long. Basically.
Yeah, I don't think Taliyah got many good ults off at all.
I actually thought...
he got good ultis off, but
not
many
good roams.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Right, because, I mean, we always joke about, like, Piglet's Taliyah in team fights just, like, shooting an ult randomly, but Bjergsen actually used the ult well in team fights and would cut people off or, like, use it to gap close in a situation.
Yeah, using the gap close in the last team fight down the mid lane, that was really good.
Yeah, and even the bot lane fight that eventually went TSM's way. So I think it was important because we know Bjergsen likes to roam. We know that he's a good Taliyah, so the fact that Moon gets a kill in the mid lane gives High the advantage for the first time and really holds Taliyah down was really big. Even though, you know, they don't win this game.
I mean, there were a lot of promising things this game.
The bot lane,
you know, they got the solo kill after forcing flash with arrow. Even though Turtle knew they were in there, he stopped his back and he walked up and then he still.
I think they forgot. I think
they literally got pinged right then by them.
It was so sad too because Bio recalled. Bio was like, "All right, they're still there. I'm just gonna leave and like come back."
And then Turtle stops his recall to walk forward to try to CS and gets Ash Arrow and has to flash, and then he dies when they come back because he has no flash. And so I thought that was kind of bad. And maybe in this situation, I was like, okay, well, you know what, FlyQuest has got this game. And then what ends up happening is the bot lane 5 for 5.
And it looks really good. So like TSM groups up around bot lane, trying to push in the turret, and then they have a ward behind them. Balls TP's in, and it looks like setup-wise, this should be a good fight.
Oh, and it was, but it was just played really bad by
their backline damage members all got chunked out instantly.
It's because I didn't respect Taliyah damage.
With that and, oh my god, Altec just like got hit by everything. He like walks up, Ash Arrow someone, and then like instead of playing it slow and slow playing, or maybe just holding your Ash Arrow there, he hits Biofrost and then tries to trade some damage back and just eats a bunch of chunk out of Varus, pops his heal when he still has the debuff on him, eats more Nautilus damage. So like by the time Balls finally collapses, he's already at 20% HP.
Yeah, I thought the way that they played out the fight was weird because usually when a frontline TP's really far away from his team, you seeing them and killing them is the right call. But usually, but that's only a position where like your team is all there and you're walking forward. It's a front to back fight.
Yeah.
However, the way that it happened was like Balls and High came in from the river. And the TP was not.
Balls was like behind them. High was coming in this way, and then like the other three were coming
up. And so
up.
with the Maokai flashing in, High loses his frontline protection, which is why Bjergsen was able to walk on High there and check him out. I think at that position, High has to immediately flash. The fact that not only did he get chunked to 20%, but he also whiffed his ulti, immediate game loss. And of course, right there, Taliyah lands a good wall.
So that's what we're talking about. Where like Bjergsen didn't have great roaming ults because he was kind of held down, but that was a great example of like, okay, their backline got chunked out, now their front line's overextended, cut the front line off, Lemon and Balls are too far forward, they die. And High sombreroing the ult there basically was like, all right, you guys can now chase as hard as you want, and that's kind of the beginning of the end here for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I thought it was still okay. You know, they weren't. I don't even think they're behind like 1K gold, so it was like, okay, they still got this. And then what did they do? They do the top lane rotation.
They forced so hard top.
It was this is so tragic because I thought High the last game worked well with almost no front line. Like his Ori was actually really good the game before. This is a game where like his Ori just kind of failed. Like the bot lane missed sombrero, top lane super overdove.
No, he was the one overdiving.
Yeah, he was the one that was overdiving to get the kill.
Yeah,
and then
because they Ash Arrow, I think it was Bio or somebody insta kill him, and then like Haunter's there, and he goes through the flash self ult, and you're like, no.
Yeah, and after he does that, TSM just cleans them running down the entire lane. Yeah. We're talking Sven cuts him off like.
Yeah, there's no top turret, and they're like in between TSM's two turrets, so they run like way all the way around. And like I think Sven, came from Baron and like over the tri-brush area, so they just got chased down. Ends up being a 3-for-1.
And at that point, I thought they were in a really bad spot. Super bad spot.
Yeah, because like right after that, TSM group up mid. They push down mid turret. They get like another kill, I think. And it's like that's all 3 outers down at this point. And FlyQuest are like super far behind. TSM once again not super clean in the mid game. There were like a lot of like scrappy fights around mid lane that they should have probably won harder, given that they had the advantage.
Yeah, and they had a lot of positions where it's like, well, they needed Bjergsen to play super well in a position to like get away with the lead, and he did, but not something that I would like to consistently rely on when they have the winning position.
Yeah, and like there's that one where Hansel had that TP from like super far behind, and then
they got 2 for 3.
Yeah,
there.
and what the saddest thing was, FlyQuest could have smashed that fight so hard if High hit a correct Orianna Shockwave. It was like so sad, because if you took his Ori game from game 2 and put it in game 3, they probably win that game. Because as they're trying to chase and catch up to Hanser on the backside, TSM overextend, Lemon hits a huge 3-man root, and then High tries to combo the Shockwave on top of it, but only hits 1 because he shorts it. And it's just like, oh, if he hits that, they smash this fight, and instead it's, like you said, a close fight, I think, 2 for 3.
Yeah.
And then after that, the next time that they fight mid, TSM just actually wins it. And that's when you have like the play where they, High, or Bjergsen has that sick ult down the mid lane, splits them up, they both pick up the kills, eventually they grab Baron.
I'm just trying to think what I think about the teams after this, and like just FlyQuest in general during the series. Even though they played, again, better than I expected,
Yep.
they made some close games,
Yep.
it still kind of ended the way that I thought it would end.
A 3-0, you mean?
Yeah, not only just the result,
But like
even
35-minute games.
Even how I thought the games would play out, like they'd be able to win like one fight, but they wouldn't get that many objectives off of it because they're just not like super clean, and they're not going to straight up beat TSM in a team fight unless TSM messes up.
Yeah.
But TSM messes up quite a bit.
Yeah, so I don't know if I agree completely. Like, I thought FlyQuest looked a lot better than they would. I thought like Moon played better than I thought. The bot lane I thought was going to be a problem. I thought game 1 was going to be what was going to happen the other games, and then you see FlyQuest turn around and actually take bot turret before TSM and kind of winning 2v2. Even though I know they're first picking Ashe and they're putting draft resources into doing that, I still didn't think it would happen. And then, like you said, TSM, they got a lot of leads, and I thought they'd be super clean with those leads. Not necessarily the case. They kind of threw them a couple times. So it wasn't exactly how I thought it would go.
Yeah. I think the biggest surprise for me is actually just TSM's problems. Like you said, going way too deep on overdives by the jungler or overstays by the rest of the team. Something that we saw capitalized on quite a bit this series, and maybe if FlyQuest was playing a little bit better, would be a situation where they would have dropped at least one game this series to those kind of things. Outside of that, anything else you want to say to round out the series?
No, I mean, it's what we expected. Kind of sucked that both semifinals were 3-0s. Yeah, I expected this. I wanted more out of the P1 C9. And P1 was just like laid an egg, and it just sucked.
Yeah, this is the series that coming in, the best I was going to do was give them 3-1.
Yeah.
But
you said 3-1, right?
Yeah.
I said 3-0.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, let's go. Everyone's making fun of you for always saying 3-1.
I know.
Have you said 3-0 yet?
I think I said 3-1 for everything except for the one where you said 3-1 and I said 3-0.
But that's because you went first. The C9P1 one, right?
No, that was because you went first. I only copied one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I just said 3-0 for that one. But yeah, I said 3-1 for everyone else.
All right, well, since we're talking about predictions, why don't we move on to the prediction segment? This time around, because there's a chance I'm not able to join Scarra on PLT for the finals and for the 3rd, 4th place match, because I'll be in Vancouver, we're going to do both predictions for the 3rd, 4th place and finals match right now.
Okay.
We might not go as in-depth as we normally would, so we don't talk forever. You want to start 3rd, 4th?
Yep.
All right, so 3rd, 4th to me is a total shit show. I have no idea what's going to happen. I have no idea.
I completely agree. I don't know what to expect. I do think, however, like the way I initially my first thoughts are I have no idea what to say about these because I don't know like which strengths and weaknesses kind of counterbalance, like which team's better at what. Then I try to break it down a little bit more. I think if you're going by like defined role, I think this is a series where Moon overall has looked like the better jungler compared to Inori.
Yes.
So I think that with Ryu being the worse laner than Bjergsen, in a lot of these games we saw outside the third game, Bjergsen being 20 CS up on high.
Yep.
I think that FlyQuest's win condition stays exactly the same. But they're more able to do it because their jungler matchup should be better and their mid matchup should be better for them.
So I agree. What's scary for me, other than the mid matchup for FlyQuest, the jungle matchup, is like the bot lane. Yeah, they beat TSM's bot lane, and I don't think Arrow's like this super dominant one, but like if FlyQuest doesn't win the early game super hard, I'm scared that P1 is just better in mid late game in team fighting with the carries. But then they just look so awful versus C9 that I'm not sure how true that is anymore.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh man, they got two of the best late game carries. And then against C9, they were like kind of close in the mid late game, and then someone just gets picked and it's over.
How much of the series do you think relies on the top lane, especially Zig?
I actually think less than you would have thought. I thought like Zig would have some weird counter picks, but based off the champ pool I've seen out of balls, I'm not sure that's going to happen. Like what, you're going to pick Kled into Rumble and like smash him? Maybe, but not without jungler, right? That's why I think it's really jungler dependent.
Yeah, and with matchups being jungler dependent, I give my edge to Moon.
Right, exactly.
And so this is a series where before watching the C9 P1 series, I would have said P1 wins this easily.
Yeah, I would have said that too.
Now it's like a very, very close series. Do you want me to predict first?
You can go. I know what I'm going to say.
3-2 FlyQuest.
Shit, that's what I was going to say!
Oh!
Stop reading my mind!
Oh! This is like a series where I expect to go the distance. Like, I think
so like,
at least 4 games, hoping for 5.
That's what you think.
Right. But anything can happen.
And this is like anything can happen because like maybe Zig does just like dumpster somebody and it's like, that's it. But like at the same time, maybe like Ryu tries to make a bunch of plays on High and High's roaming all over the map and the mid laners are going crazy. Maybe Arrow like actually stomps bot lane like we saw in the the quarterfinals that they played against Dignitas where like they just put it in LoD. So like there's a lot of different ways that matchup can actually shake out that I'm not 100%. That's why I said like I don't know what's going to happen. Like you can sit there and say hypothetically these things can shake out that way, but I'll say 3-2 P1.
Oh,
just counter.
I think it's super close, and more than likely it's not even the other 5 games. Because
yeah.
But
it's like close, but probably gonna snowball.
Yes. How do you feel about the relative draft adaptations of both of these teams? I think over the course of the series, do you feel like you give it to like P1 or FlyQuest?
Yeah, FlyQuest draft adaptations. Usually, I can see where they're coming from, though I might not always love their drafts. I can see like the thought process in terms of how they're figuring out what the enemy team is doing. They are a little slow starting, but I don't hate their drafts.
A lot of people are slow starting. I think TSM is a definition of a team that's like the slowest starters. And part of the reasons why they lose first game and win a lot of the other ones is because they adapt and draft very quickly.
Yep.
And very well.
Yeah, so I would say FlyQuest normally, but because you said FlyQuest, I'm going to say P1 because I think it will be close. Anything else you want to say on this one before we move on?
Not really. I'm actually kind of curious to see how the draft adapts throughout the series. This is something where I agree with you as well. FlyQuest draft adaptations are pretty consistent, you know?
Yep.
I know we haven't talked much about ThinkCard. There's really not much to talk about in terms because we don't know him very well. I work with him, and I don't know how he coaches at all.
Yeah, I mean, he lived at the Curse House for a little while when I was there, and like we're friends, but he was a player then, and player to coach can be very different. Like you were a decent player, but an awful coach, you know?
Yeah. Son of a.
All right, so let's move on to C9 TSM. This one, I think there's a lot more to talk about and more stuff you can kind of count on happening. So, you want to start off or should I?
You go for it.
Okay, so based off what we saw in the semifinals, there's 2 big concerns I see for TSM. I think TSM is the better team, but one, Contracts looked really good in the semifinal match. And we saw that Sven was a little bit behind Moon for most of the series, and if Contracts can play like a little bit better than Moon, that's a big problem. Big problem number 2 is Turtle kind of got crushed in lane. Not like crushed, but like he lost lane to Alltech and Lemon, which is like they're not a superstar bot lane. So I would have to say that like if you're going up against Sneaky and Smoothie and they're picking some like aggro lane like Lucian Thresh or like who knows like whatever they want to play. And the Karma Lulu ban or something like that, so you get like weirder matchups. I could see Sneaky and Smoothie actually stomping them, and then that's the big problem for TSM is like, so both teams have really good carries, both of them are good in the mid late game, and now they might have a jungle and AD carry advantage.
On the reverse, I think TSM has generally a better early game.
Yep.
And I think Hauntzer's has been playing fantastic. Like, I think as Impact has been playing like less and less good throughout, I would say less and less good as the season progressed. And Ray is looking like his decision making late game. His laning, I think, is great. Decision making late game. Watch some of those initiations he does on drivers. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes you're just like, ooh, kind of iffy. I think Hauntzer's the full package player right now that you want. That's why he's MVP candidate right now. He is at the point where he can frontline at the level where he can kind of make up for his bot lane's deficits, as long as it's not too bad.
Right. Like,
so
if
I'm also worried about the bot lane.
It's basically like if Turtle's down 10 CS and they lose their turret at 15 minutes, that's fine.
Yeah.
If they're getting smashed, they die, or they're down 20 CS and the turret's dead at 8 minutes, I think TSM's in deep shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with how good Contracts has been playing. In the mid lane matchup, I actually think, and this is what I've always thought about it, Jensen lane's better than Bjerg. Bjerg does more outside
for the team.
Yes. Team fighting wise, they're both really good.
Yeah, I think you can say individual playmaking, give it to Jensen. Team playmaking, give it to Bjerg. And that's how they've always kind of been. Ever since like Bjerg started getting out of the lane more in like Season 5 and stuff, ever since then, that's kind of how they've each been. Even though I think you can say individually, Jensen may be a little better.
Yeah, maybe like a little better. But it's really, if we're just talking about quantifying the laning skill, period. And I mean, we saw in the last matchup where he played, I think, Echo into Zed, he had like a pretty dominant lead in that matchup up until I think they lost.
Yeah, it was a long game too. I think what's going to happen is it will not be decided by mid lane. I think it'll be decided by everything else.
Yeah. And because, usually what happens is when we get to the finals, top 4 teams, you're in the top 4 teams, usually you have 3 of the top 5 junglers in the top 4 teams remaining. Usually.
Yeah.
And this is a weird season because you have some of the best junglers in the league at the bottom of the standings. And the junglers, like for instance, if you're looking at the junglers in the top, you're thinking Contracts, you're thinking Sven, you're thinking Inori, you're thinking, what's the last one? Moon?
Yeah.
And you put any of these as the number 1 pick?
No.
Closest, and Contracts didn't make top 4 or top 4 on my list for most of the season. Sven was in and out of top 5 the entire season.
Moon was like number 1, number 2 for a while,
and then dropped all the way out when he played Shaco, and then went back in, and then it's like, so you have people like, for the most part, the jungle talent here is not reflective of the actual team's ranking, and so that's why that's why if going into like the games, I feel like the jungles could just be exploited more than usual.
Yeah, so I agree. Like it's weird that like it's like, oh my god, which jungler is gonna have the better early game? It's kind of like, will it even matter? Like maybe they both end up like farming and playing it slow. Because I could see like big stage Contracts the rookie not playing as well as he did in the semifinals. Because whereas on the same stage he's played all season. So like maybe he just plays safer and C9 go kind of back to their style where they weren't super proactive in the early game and they just play around mid the whole time. And I don't think that's necessarily good for them, especially if their bot lane's not winning.
Yeah. I also think there could be a situation where, TSM picks Lee.
That'd be a good situation.
Then,
I would like to see the Lee Sin.
And then 1v9.
Yo, how sick would it be if just Lee Sin became super high priority this series? Because Contracts is good at it too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That'd be so funny if it's like, fuck Rengar, fuck Kha'Zix, all this stuff.
I think both of them would prefer to play lead than Kha'Zix. And there's a draft situation where you would be like,
I think Contracts might have the better of like the Lee Kha'Zix matchup because I think his Lee is almost as good, not quite as good, but
his
still
Kha'Zix is better.
But his Kha'Zix is better.
I agree, but I think both of them would slightly prefer Lee in that 2-man or that 1-on-1.
Yeah,
and there'll definitely be a draft where Lee Sin becomes priority in this finals match.
Yeah, Rengar. They also both have decent Rengars, so I think jungler.
I think Rengar is just too good of a champion.
Yeah,
like, you can just see it played like.
Yeah, you might just see it banned a lot too. It was banned this series.
That's true.
So moving into the actual prediction part of it, because we kind of broke it down, I think it's super, super close. And so I think depending on how the jungle mid matchup actually shakes out, it's either like close for TSM or actually relatively in favor of C9. I'm betting that it is not that big of an advantage, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what I want to say, but this is just because I trust TSM's bot lane to not hard feed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna get on stage and hard feed, but there's a chance it happens. And if that happens, C9 win like 3-1, pretty dominantly. But if that doesn't happen, I think it's like 3-2 TSM. And I'm betting more on 3-2 TSM.
You took my.
That's how it feels. You did that to me with FlyQuest, dude. 3-2 TSM. Figure out something else to say, or you can agree. We don't have to be different.
You took my. Now I know how it feels.
Yeah,
bro.
that's what happened to me.
Okay, so usually I'm the type of guy who likes to give it to the person, or like the team that's fighting TSM, because I always think it's a David and Goliath matchup for the most part. TSM, 9 championships they've been a part of. They've always made finals. They are like
Resident sleeper.
Yeah.
Like, all right, you guys are good. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. And so I always like it when like they get beat,
Yep.
essentially, because it's cool when you have underdogs beat them. This is a series where it's like I respect the relative skill on their team, especially like the superstar players. I think Hanser's really, what do I say about this? Fantastic. Bjergsen, I think going into the latter half of the season has been starting to play super well, and so this is one of the few times I'm going to say TSM wins 3-2.
All right, we are in agreement then. 3-2 for TSM, 3-2 for FlyQuest. I said 3-2 for P1 just to be different. I really do think FlyQuest might win that one. We'll have to see though.
I'm actually happy because these predictions are saying that like they're going to be close games.
So I would agree, but it's just sad that the reason these games are close is because the semifinals were both not close.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like you got to this, like the ends does not justify the means. We had a poopy semifinals weekend because like maybe the finals in Vancouver will be sick.
I mean,
I'd much rather the finals be good.
I mean, I just don't think there's a situation where you play it out and the semifinals would be good. Like I thought about it, and
I felt like maybe if CLG was as good as we thought they could
if CLG won but they play against TSM, they'd still probably lose.
Right.
And at best, take one game.
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's a series where you're gonna get a good semis, and it's just because of how the bracket worked out.
Yeah, I agree. But it is what it is. That's going to do it for our prediction portion. We doing QA today?
Do you want to do it?
I'm down for some QA. I don't know how you feel. I mean, it's a fast day.
All right. I'm down for some QA as well.
I'm on my way back at 3:30, right? We can do some QA.
All right, guys.
We're going to get Josh back in here, who's on his phone, probably watching Melee or something else. What were you doing?
Yeah.
Texting bitches.
He was watching me.
He's watching Melee. You think this...
There's only one woman for me in my life, and that's Melee.
Melee's a woman?
I don't know.
I can see it. Melee's crazy. All right, so if you guys have any questions, you can just post in the chat. We'll try and grab them as they go by. There's a lot of you in here today. Thank you for tuning in, but we will not answer Lyra questions, so don't try.
Don't try to preface your question with the word Lyra or magic, because neither of those will affect us today.
Okay. There's one that, because I'm too lazy to read chat. So Hanser got the MVP of the series. What did you think about that?
Let me think. I think second game.
You should try and find one more.
Second game hard carry by Sven, straight up. Third game, he frontlined well. I mean, I think that Sven played. The thing is, it's like it's hard to say. I would actually maybe have been okay. Sven did a pretty good job, but the first game was such
I thought he fed way too hard the first game.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like the first game, he actually was 0-5.
Yeah.
Or else he may have been in contention. I think it's okay. It's not bad.
I thought Bjerg was good too. His 2 Syndra games, he kind of bullied super hard, and then Talia, sure, he got ganked early on, but he stabilized and then made big plays. So I was a little bit more in favor of Bjergsen, but I thought it was like a pretty good team effort all around.
Woo.
Did you find one?
Go
Yeah.
team.
Someone asked, does Lyra play Magic?
Holy
Oh my god.
No, he plays Melee.
Yeah, that's the worst question.
SKT versus KT.
That's on Friday. I actually don't follow the Korean scene super close.
I don't follow it either. SKT versus KT.
KT looks super good. They smashed the shit out of a MVP. Or Samsung, yeah.
To be honest, I tend to go by this thing when it comes to teams. if one team has Faker, you always bet for him.
Yeah,
and usually...
Yeah, the flowchart of teams that might win. Does the team have Faker? They're probably favored.
Usually, I'm like 80% successful with this one betting strategy. So if you guys are ever on betting sites, just follow my strategy. You'll probably come out really good.
Someone asked about Ashe priority. Why'd they take Ashe all 3 games? Ashe is just
super good.
She's actually first pick in almost every region right now.
Yeah.
She doesn't lose like any matchups. She scales all games. She's one of the few utility champions who actually power spikes pretty well with Blade of the Rune King. Whereas like Varus can use it, but it doesn't work well with his kit. Whereas like it actually works well with Ashe's a little bit.
So like not only does she have great utility, so she's a utility champion that lanes well against everything. She's literally the best blind pick AD in the game. And she has
fits every team comp.
Yes, and she's everything. She's the whatchamacallit, the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. There's nothing she does bad. Even if she falls behind, like great, you can still arrow stuff.
Yeah, and then she actually like counters certain champions. Like for instance, she has a really good matchup in Lucian, and she has a really good matchup into Callista, and so and she splits lane against everything else.
Doesn't get bullied that hard by Kate.
Yep, she's one of the original Kate counter picks or Kate like picks into it.
Yep. Do you think Blade of the Rune King will be nerfed?
Yep, at some point.
Yeah, 100%.
But it should be.
It shouldn't happen until they like make other AD carry itemization better.
Well, that's probably what they'll do. Like trade off wise, it's like figure out.
It'll
a
be
way.
like mid-season comes along. We'll get all the nerfs, the adjustments to tank itemization.
Yeah.
Then like AD itemization gets adjusted as well. They nerf Ninja Tabi and they nerf Bork.
They were. I forgot where I read this, but I thought I heard the designers saying that they wanted to increase the gold value from the IE shivs. Not shiv.
They're
Spike.
gonna make it 300 gold cheaper. Going into mid-season.
Yeah, so like that seems really impactful.
Yeah, it's really good.
So like I think that's like a good way to balance out the fact that Bork is probably gonna get.
You know what AD carry build that like I didn't hate. BT first. I thought BT first was like it was a little cancerous because the sustain was crazy, but it didn't have random crit stuff. You still kind of power spiked on one item because you got like a ton of AD. I didn't hate it.
I thought it was pretty bad to have in the game.
It was pretty annoying because whoever started stacking it first got like super far ahead because you got the bonus.
It was really snowballing.
But the crit one was snowballing too because literally in lane like, oh, I got crit twice by IE. Shit, I guess I lose.
It was random.
Back in the day when like Sivir used to be like really strong and you'd have an IE and that's it, and you'd walk up to the other AD carry and auto, and then you'd auto reset with your W, and sometimes if you just get the double crit just like randomly, you just like one shot them.
No, and literally Turtle made his legacy on the crit build opener because he was. I remember Cutie playing against this guy, and he was literally just like, Turtle's the luckiest player I know. He got so mad.
Cop thought Doublelift was the luckiest.
Really?
Dude. Yeah, Doublelift always got like 4 crits on Cop like in a row. It would be like the most brutal shit. Like Cop would like end it like after every scrim just like count Doublelift's crits and like all this stupid shit. It was really a waste of time and a horrible mindset to have, but pretty funny.
Yeah, no, it was so funny. But there were like situations where like we'd watch a team fight with Cutie and be like, how did he crit that many times? And I'd be like, he's just better than you.
Yeah.
I think that was like the joke was like it's scripted. Someone
exactly.
has the
when Riot wants the scripts to work in Turtle's favor because he's from Canada, they gotta
just like raise it.
The
storyline of him going back to Canada, winning, would be so good. Let's just increase
him and Biofrost, both Canadian.
Ooh. Yeah,
Smoothie's Canadian.
Biofrost will play Thresh and just like his first auto like randomly crits, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? He doesn't have a crit.
Oops, scripts on the wrong guy.
Oh god.
Most underrated and overrated player of the split.
I think for overrated, it's gonna be one of the MVP candidates.
I think so too.
Like like a lot of people Doublelift brought up Arrow because Doublelift thinks Arrow is really overrated. I think at some level he is, but not the same way that I would consider him overrated. Or like I think every MVP candidate would be overrated in some way, shape, or form.
Sure. Yeah. That's a shitty answer.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the underrated question. Because then we bring up a player that maybe people missed.
Okay, so who do you think's underrated then? Start me there.
Give me a second.
Okay.
You know who I think gets overrated a lot actually is Keen.
I think so. I can agree with that. Where like a lot of
he has like those games where he pops off really fucking hard, and that's like the thing.
He's got like 9-2 Azir.
Yeah,
Like, wow, what a god! Or like a TF game or a Cassio game that he plays well, and then he has a lot of games where he just gets like bodied in lane or like messes up a play bad.
Yeah.
So I can see that one.
Maybe Acadian's overrated a little bit.
I felt like people cooled off on him pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as like the later half.
Okay,
of the season,
we're going
people-
underrated. So let me think. I'm literally going down all the teams right now. I'm starting from the bottom.
You think Lyra's underrated? Oh shit, we said the L word.
Yeah. Whoops.
Whoops, my bad.
Keen. I think Haku is relatively underrated, but I mean, I think his relative value started getting more and more once people realized that like later in the games, like, oh, Envy's losing, but like their bot lane always seems pretty good.
Right, I was gonna say you can throw Apollo in there as well because the entire bot lane, even before like the promotion tournament where they actually start smashing some people, but like
The reason why I don't like throwing Apollo in there, I think he's underrated, but I still don't think I think he's in the same category as Laud. I think maybe I would take.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Would you take Laud over Apollo? Because that's a question you'd have to ask because they're
Yes.
both like relatively in like the bot tier.
Yes.
You take Apollo. over.
I think I don't think it's a bad comparison. I think it's close. I think they're different players, like very, very different players.
Yeah.
There's like Laud is like mechanically better than Apollo. I think if you want someone to go like aggressive and make plays, Laud's way better at that. Apollo like much safer. Still gets caught out of position a little bit, but not nearly as much as Laud, where sometimes it's just like head scratching. What were you doing? And I think like communication wise and attitude wise, like Apollo is super, super good. So like.
Okay.
I feel like you could stick Apollo in like a lot of like really good teams, and he would not be like a massive detriment.
Well, then is he just like the poor man's Sneaky or poor man's Turtle?
A little bit, but Turtle's like crazy come late game sometimes.
Oh yeah,
You won't see Apollo like shift flash in like I got this shit, dude. Like that, like Turtle does that. Like Laud will do that. Apollo not gonna do that.
Yeah.
He's definitely a little bit more like sneaky. I'd say like a poor man's. Sneaky, poor man, anyone who's like kind of the more like reserved AD carry.
I guess my underrated player would be Haku. I've always thought he's good. Actually, it used to be a situation where of all the LCS players supports I got in solo queue, I would prefer him over everyone.
Yeah.
Where I just thought he like just played the best, and it was crazy. I think he's actually a lot better than people think. I don't think Ole's underrated. I put him third.
Yeah, I put him third too. I guess. Didn't he get third?
I think so.
I think he got third. Yeah.
Like, I think it's really hard to say he's underrated when he's like getting third place on the MVP votes.
I can see like underappreciated maybe is
Yes.
a better word for him because like no one talks about him.
Yeah, I think Haku is really like not many people even consider him in like the top 5.
Right, I would say he's underrated. Hakuho is underrated.
Yeah, like I would put him like like once you finish off the Afromu section, which I think is top 4 with Ole.
Yep.
Like the 5th place may be up for grabs, and he might be there.
Right, and I think like Ole, no one puts him in there. Like people say he's top 3, but like
Really?
no one's talking about like, man, this dude's the third. Immortals have the 3rd best support in the league. Like when did you ever hear anyone talk about that?
The only time it happened was when people realized he hit rank 4 on the solo queue ladder, and then people started noticing him because he hit high on the solo queue ladder, not because of his in-game play, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
What do you think of NA heading into MSI? We've already covered that one.
Yeah, we covered that a lot.
I think it's better to talk after finals. And maybe if we hold like a special PLT episode before MSI or something to talk about that specifically.
Yeah,
Because then we can talk about the team that's going rather than being
right.
like...
Because like if you're talking about C9, you're like, oh man, maybe they'll get abused early game. But then like if you're talking TSM, it's like maybe their bot lane doesn't hold up. Right? Like there's just different concerns depends on who goes.
Oh god, I was just reading people saying sneaky underrated. That's like a meme at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
Come on, he's good. Everyone knows he's good. He's been good for years.
Oh yeah, are we gonna bring back the Jimmies as like a end of the split thing?
I wouldn't mind doing it,
I
but
wouldn't mind. It depends on our time.
It just doesn't fit in well because MSI is like we're going you're like okay, I guess we're not gonna think about the season anymore. If we find time, maybe I'd be up for it because we can actually put thought into these kind of questions. You guys are asking like who's the best this thing, who's
Yeah.
this thing.
And just as a heads up, I know a lot of people are asking for voting in terms of MVP votes, best player, top 3 in their position. When I did voting, at least, I made sure to consider the whole season, and I tried not to stray away from recency bias. So, especially in the jungle position, I would have put Reignover and Lyra like within my top 4, probably both of them.
Wait, with recency bias.
With recency bias,
Yes,
I would have.
yes.
I think if you're gonna ask me their relative form when I made the ballot, I would have put them there. But I can't do that when I'm doing the top 3 in position when I'm talking about the season.
Right. It's almost more like a power ranking of them versus how was their season.
Exactly.
Because if you ask how Reignover's season was, it was like he inted some games.
Yeah,
in the
like
beginning of the
legit,
season.
like hard fed half the season.
Yeah, and then like suddenly you don't have to play Kha'Zix Rengar every game, and like you can play Graves, and you can play Olaf.
And then he played Kha'Zix to the point where he doesn't jump in and kill himself anymore, and suddenly he became like his pathing still amazing.
Yep.
He became a really good jungler. Oh, this is good. Certain players are crying over junglers being weak. Tarzan and Acadian. What do you think about this?
I think it's bad. I don't think it's true. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's true.
It's just like, okay, so you guys were butt-fuckingly broken for the beginning of the season,
and
you have been
the season before.
Even the season before, like a lot of the highest rated players were junglers.
Literally, I remember looking at the top of the ladder. I was like, okay, we got Tarzan, we got Wiggly, BMX Specs was top 10, and I was just like, what is going on? Like, why are there so many junglers here that like I hadn't seen in seasons before? You know, and some of them were actually good. Like I think Tarzan's actually good,
right?
And I think Wiggly actually turned into someone that was good in the challenger scene actually. But I was just really surprised that there were a lot of people, a lot of junglers there, and then I realized the position is just actually broken.
Yeah, so they've been nerfed like into line, like maybe they're like a little underpowered, but it's not like, dude, I need some buffs real quick. No one's playing jungle anymore. They just don't get any respect here. They're not quite as annoying as AD carry mains, but I feel like AD carry mains have like a little bit more reasonable of a gripe. Where like they can only itemize like one way in any given meta. Whereas like junglers is like you can do a lot of stuff, dude. Like chill.
You even have like different damage source junglers you can play. You can play different types of junglers.
Yeah, you can be like a marksman Graves thing. You can be an assassin. You can be a tank. Like 80 carries. You can build Bork.
Yeah, it's not like you can even play Corki anymore, right? Because that champ sucks.
Yeah.
So you're kind of limited in the damage source you can do. Your job is identical, and the only question you have is like, am I going to be a level 6 CC bot or not? And it's like, am I going to play Ashe or Varus? It's literally the only question.
You're still going to build Bork though.
Yes.
So I don't think it's underpowered. I think Dardoch tweeted he doesn't think it's underpowered right now.
He did.
Yeah. A couple people.
Sentinel also mirrored remarks.
Yeah.
Old jungler that used to be in the LCS, and I think that it's just a role that because the AD carry role got back up in terms of relative strength, you take that percentage away from someone else, which it took away from the jungle because it got nerfed.
Yeah.
That's it.
Players you hope get picked up by LCS teams.
I mean,
that's tough to say.
I think right now, I talked to both of these guys about it before. I think the support position, the bottom 5 in terms of support position, maybe has the most flexibility in terms of like maybe switching.
Oh yeah.
But because like when I think of like the other roles, the other positions, I'm like top 5 in mid lane. Like if you're trying to be a mid laner in the LCS, good luck. Because that is a hard role to
The funniest thing is like people have been shitting on Golden Glue for 2 years, and for 2 years he's the best up and coming talent in NA.
Yes.
In the mid lane position.
Which should tell you something about like how hard it is to play mid lane.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing mid lane and your first game is like I go against Jensen and then next game is Bjerg,
then you're against Froggen, and then you're against Ryu, and you're like
you're gonna get like hard smashed. It's disgusting. And then like the same is true of top lane. I think really fleshed itself out over like the course of this year. I think
all those top lane imports are nuts.
Yeah, they were all good. NA mid laners did decent against them, and then you have like maybe Licorice is good. He might find his way onto
and in jungle position, NA's probably got the best talent in terms of the recent talent in that position. And AD, I feel like maybe the bottom 4 aren't that good either. So I actually think, surprisingly, I think the bot lane position, both the roles, have the most flexibility in terms of people coming in.
Right, and it's probably true.
Which is why a lot of mid laners have now switched permanently to support.
I brought that up on the podcast.
Oh.
From you.
Yeah. Like when you think of Shady, who's the support for P1, that guy was a mid laner 7 months ago. About to switch to support full time. Another person who was jungling, I think, switched to support full time. If you're going pro, you go to support. But I also think those are like a lot of those people, like it's hard to make it very high because a lot of their aspirations are just to get into LCS. And I think to succeed at LCS, you have to aspire for more.
If Zell, Mark, Scarra, and Yuno were on a team,
we would lose.
We're not talking about the LCS, dude.
We'd have Mark on our team.
Okay, keep going.
Yes, exactly. I don't play. Like, is this an ARAM team? I'm okay at those. I've been playing those. Who would our 5th member be was the question. Would it be Miles? But he's like AFK.
Yeah,
If Miles was on the team, he would just be like, he would load into the game.
disconnected.
Yeah, he would load into the game and then be like, oh shit, this new show came out. Like, this album just dropped. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck, Miles?
There's a Smash tournament. See ya.
Yeah, so I don't think Miles would be it. People are saying Pokey. She's never been on the show.
She's never been on the show. Lyra.
I wish.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah. Who else would it be?
Who's been on the show?
Not anyone.
Maybe Chris.
Oh, maybe Chris.
Maybe Chris.
Does he play League?
He's awful. He like just sucks at MOBAs.
Ooh.
Like how bad?
Like bad.
Like
he doesn't have
can't
hands.
get to silver.
I don't think he's played.
Oh, okay.
Does he like never played League of Legends?
He's played very few amount of League of Legends.
Okay.
Who else could we get?
I just want to steal Kobe. I love Kobe. But that's
Yeah, but okay. He's
Alright,
also
I mean,
good.
If we're just gonna take people, I'd like to take Faker.
Yeah, I'll bench myself. I'll go to like coaching or something.
Yeah.
And then,
You know, I'll be on the sidelines cheering you guys on with a beer in hand. How's that?
yeah.
I have no idea.
That'd be pretty fun. Just like
Yeah, you guys are doing great.
you just like get us on stage and be like, "Oh, listen, boys."
We can slam a 40 while you're on, like trying
Yeah.
to do picks and bans.
I don't know. Tony would be good, but Tony hasn't been on the show.
Yeah, so we would just have a 4-man team.
Sounds awful.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, well, that's a terrible answer to that question. Let's go for it.
All right,
Yeah.
moving on. Let's bring back Kiwi Kid. Let's do it. I love it.
Yeah, I would take Kiwi as our 5th.
I
even though
love
he
Kiwi.
he doesn't care.
Do we want to talk about what could happen next week? Like, is that
Have we not talked about that yet? I thought you guys talked about it with Una.
We
that
probably
one time.
talked about
No,
it
we
briefly.
talked about
but-
it like briefly maybe, and as well as like on the show we've kind of glanced over it. Is it locked in? Are we ready to share it?
I mean, I don't know what locked in means.
I've confirmed my side of the things. Are you definitively going?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been definitively
Okay, so
going
then
for like.
let's
let's
talk
talk
about
about
it.
it. Okay.
So like next week it's gonna be kind of a weird thing for finals because Mark is actually going to Vancouver, so he won't be around for the stream.
Yes. He was going to be ditching me to do post-game interviews
Yeah.
With Action Esports.
with another organization.
And then I'm not gonna be there either because I will be in San Francisco
What will you be doing in San Francisco, Josh?
drafting up a storm.
Playing Magic?
Yeah.
So I have to run production as well as find new co-hosts to work with.
Yeah.
I have acquired said co-hosts. Do I spill the beans?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
spill
not?
the beans.
Spill
Like,
the beans.
you like building this shit up like it's gonna blow their mind.
I mean, it's gonna blow their
It's
mind.
gonna blow your mind.
Barack Obama.
Okay, so third, fourth place match. I got my boy Kiwi Kid to come in to be an analyst with me. Some of you might think he's a big joker, and we will have some jokes. However, he's really smart about the game, and I work well with him. For the finals match, I will have Tony Gray, head coach of CLG.
Main actor in 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes, with me on site to be able to analyze the game. Also on site might be Plop, but I'm not sure if he'll join us for the analysis portion. However, that guy, just genius. Tony Gray is the figurehead of CLG's coaching
Oh
staff.
my god.
Plop Goldman is the real coach.
He's
behind the
fucking
scenes.
crazy.
He's actually crazy though.
I played Codenames with him. He just thought about things.
That legit.
Most people think like this. He thinks like that.
Yeah, he doesn't think linearly.
Yeah.
It's like all over the place.
Yeah.
You know, Codenames is really like the best indicator of intelligence.
Absolutely. I have never been like, wow, this person's really smart, but they're bad at Codenames.
That's actually
I've been
completely
like,
true.
I'm not sure if this person's very intelligent. Codenames confirmed they don't.
But anyways, that's the current situation. Maybe something messes up, but I've already confirmed my guest. He's confirmed that he's going. So I understand maybe a little bit weird seeing a new co-host, but we'll try to make it possible.
It's a temporary thing just because I basically never travel anywhere. So
Yeah,
I
just
want
give your excuses, dude.
I have more.
Oh, okay, let's
Yeah,
hear it.
like I don't get paid for this, but
do
I'll
you-
be getting paid when I go to Vancouver.
Do you hate your viewer?
I
you
personally
hate your
don't like
fans?
anyone in the chat right now.
Yeah.
I would much rather be in Vancouver with my friends than sitting here on this couch with you guys.
Jesus.
I told you guys. I said it in the pre-show.
What'd you say?
I said Mark doesn't give a fuck about you guys.
Whoa! I give a fuck as long as they follow my Twitter. Twitter.com/TheMarkZ.
/ pay me on
Yeah,
Patreon.
Yeah. If you are on my Patreon, you're my boy. All right, let's.
But
I'm very, very, very shallow.
that's the current plans. We will hopefully have this setup available and set up in my house so that nothing changes. However, knowing me, production may be a little bit problematic.
Yeah, we're gonna try and make sure it runs smooth. We don't want to put out a bad product for the finals, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go over with Scarra some point this week. I have all the assets on my computer. I'll transfer them over. We'll try and, for the most part, keep the feel of the show the same. Though I won't be on it and Josh won't be on it.
Correct. So
That's
this is
pretty
gonna
much
be
it.
my
You guys
show.
want to wrap it up then?
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's unfortunate that Josh and I will not be able to close out the end of the spring split with you guys. We're going to have to bail at the very, very end, but obviously we're mostly all here for Scarra. I actually only asked to do a show because I want to hang out more with Scarra.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm blushing,
Have you
man.
seen
I'm
this
just
guy?
going
He's,
red.
he's just
And
everything
not-
you'd ever want to be.
yeah, I'm all red
You just
now.
bask in your radiance, always. when
I
you're
haven't
on the
even
show.
drank yet. It's not Agent Glow. I'm just very humbled.
Yeah, so it'll be good. So guys, there'll still be PLT. I'll make sure I tweet it out for you and all that stuff. Check that out.
Additionally, if you missed today's episode, you want to watch more PLT because you realize it's just the greatest thing you've ever watched. You can find it on my YouTube at youtube.com/ScarraOfficial. New episodes will be out the day after.
Follow the PLT Twitter as well. I'm going to try to clip out some more stuff in general and just kind of post it on there. If you guys missed a funny section, we'll try and cut that out. We're not exactly sure, but we want to promote the social media of that stuff a
Yeah,
little bit more.
and we're always funny, so he's going to have a lot of clipping to do.
Yeah, actually, it might be too difficult to find one.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. From all of us here at Post League Time, I've never said this outro before.
Yeah, this is so official.
Yeah.
Fuck off. We'll see you guys some other day.
Next week.
Yeah.